Hey everybody, Shawn here, Higher Lead Chill. It's been a while. I haven't been keeping up with my content very well. We've got a lot of stuff out there, but I haven't been doing my podcast or Facebook Lives and stuff like that. So we're going to start hammering down on that again. This guy that I'm going to bring on, he knows and never stops doing his Facebook Lives and his content and his podcast and all that. It is every Sunday and Monday or Thursday. I don't even know how often you're on. You're like Seinfeld, man. I just turn the tube on and you're on. I turn YouTube on or Facebook, you're on. Jason Geiman's with me. What's going on, my man?
Oh, not too much. Living the dream here, and trying to get through this summer so we can get ready for the winter time, for the fall time of Christmas lights. And yeah, every Sunday and Wednesday night, I'm definitely consistency is definitely the name of the game. So
And you do it, you and Plata. I don't know the two that do it much better than you two, man. You guys just got it down. Got it down. I'm gonna start getting back to it here. We're doing okay with content, but this is something I've not done well because it's not my VA doing it, it's me. And so so I gotta start stepping it up a bit. We're going to talk Christmas, right? I mean, everybody sees what's around me. Everybody sees what's around Jason. It's past that time. If you haven't gotten your calendar booked up with some deals right now, let's take it back though and just kind of go. You've been out there well before COVID with stuff. You were first known really as the pressure washing king out there. I mean, you were the first one I ever noticed with thousands and thousands of followers and subscribers and tens of thousands after a while. I mean, you were the first one I saw. Latimer wasn't doing that stuff. None of the guys that have been around for a while with the big names. You nailed it. Tell me a little bit about that stuff, and then we'll kind of get it into the Christmas lights.
So one of my mentors way back in the day, Michael Crisley, he was probably the first person to ever really push YouTube and the videos. And I learned from him. He's actually about an hour from me. He's where I used to kind of work at in Georgetown as a full-time firefighter. And so whatever happened. So with that, it's kind of one of those things that as Michael was doing stuff, I learned from him. And so I actually ended up buying his business. And so his YouTube channel was I actually bought the YouTube channel. It had about 1,500 subscribers when I bought it. And so I grew that channel. And the biggest thing that I've learned over time is consistency, right? Consistency is key. And sometimes people will never start because I'm not good at this or I'm not good at that. But at the end of the day, it's just consistency is what is the most important thing out there as I've grown. And so, yes, I've been in the pressure washing business. I started it, grew it, and sold that in 2018. I sold it to a lot of the guys that people know, Brandon Vaughn and Josh Latimer and Sponsabid and all of those. So it's been quite a journey the last decade.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And consistency is where it's all about. And one of the things that I know um, right now is with this private equity stuff coming in and really consolidating the market. And you'll know this maybe more than I would, Jason, because I'm the employee side of this whole thing. You're a lot bigger into the marketing. You've got a lot of wisdom with recruiting and hiring and employees and culture and things like that. But you really pumped up and get pumped up about the marketing and demand side of the equation. And I know for sure that they're buying up a lot of Google space, which is increasing the cost of Google and things like that. So it is consistency. Branding has never been more important, I don't think. And correct me if I'm wrong. Like I said, you're the main guy with this stuff, not me. But I keep telling my clients, you need to get on video. I don't care if you like it or not. You've got to brand your company. They want to know you, not AI. Don't do the AI thing where it's not you. That's not necessarily how to brand things. But you can use it, but you still have to be there as the owner or whoever's running your company. If you're a little bit bigger with a lot of employees or something like that. What are you seeing on all that demand side with Google?
Brand has definitely became more and more. I'm always been the guy of yard signs, don't put nothing on them, and I'm kind of still that. But at the end of the day, brand is different, right? A lot of people think I've got my logo and that's the brand, and
Right.
that's not branding. You know, I can say my pleasure, and you know who I'm talking about. I could show you the picture of their logo, and you wouldn't get it as fast as me saying my pleasure. And
Right.
so that is what branding is. And so as things evolve, you know, it is more and more important with AIs taking over. Branding is definitely becoming more and more important. And it isn't about the business brand either as much as personal branding. You know,
Right.
I'm actually, I still learn a lot. And I was just watching one of the guys that I watch a lot, and I'm in you know, he's one of my coaches, and they do a lot of plumbing companies. And it's not the Master Plumbers or the Cincinnati Plumbing anymore. It's Call Brian now. It's like, and it's the brand is a person. Like
Yeah.
it's all the person. That person's going to be doing all the stuff, and like they're finding out that it's back to Google, and the T is trust, and so that's a huge trust symbol versus, you know, the master plumber or the master Christmas lights person. And so it's kind of interesting to see how things have turned. And with video, it's even more so because, like you said, with all the AI stuff and different things, and not to say that videos aren't AI, because a lot of them are, that some people don't even realize that they are. But it is important that you get to feel that person and they know who's showing up at their house. You can have all the employees, but are you taking pictures of it? You know, that builds more trust than anything, is taking pictures on your job of your crew, because then the homeowner is building trust with that homeowner. So it is important with that.
Yeah, I love all that. I mean, I was just on a I don't know how long it lasted because I'm working as I'm listening to this webinar thing that I subscribe to catch, and it was about AI and you know branding and so sort of you know the combination of you being live, human being, and personable, not just your company, but you as a human being that is the face of your company. You can throw into AI and you are looking pretty damn real in the AI, but it's you, it's your voice. It's just AI is making it for you and it is looking like it's you. So that combination's powerful. It really is. I was blown away. I think it was called Higgsfield AI. I was just blown away on they're creating commercials and branding for these clients of theirs, but I was blown away in the fact that I knew it was an AI thing. They tell you they built it with AI, obviously. And then they're like, you got to watch this commercial we made. It's like 10 seconds long. And I completely forgot it was AI. Knowing all that, looking at this, I'm going, holy shit. You know, I'm not looking to see if it was AI. It was so cool and put together so nice and professional and not, you know, but just effective as hell. That's what caught me. And that guy caught me, and it was set up, you know, it had like a crime scene. It's a plumber, and it had a really good advertising to it, if you will, and marketing strategy behind it. So the combination of the two is powerful, I think, today, from what I saw just yesterday.
And it's almost scary of what it can do. You know, I mean, the guy I'm learning from, he literally's made like 30 Super Bowl ads that they used to pay millions of dollars to go film this stuff. And like he's literally doing this stuff through AI within 2 or 3 hours. And
Yeah.
to be able to come up with the stuff that, you know, would take days and days and shoots because you'd have to get the perfect thing going, put the perfect props in and all the stuff. And now it's just a click of the button. And, you know, you said Higginsville, HeyGen's been out for 4 or 5 years. I've got a video that I've showed for 3 years now that most people can't even tell that I never said one of the words. And it's like, that's a little freaky, you know, and
It is.
it is something that it's going to be interesting that with like the politics side of things, and when everybody starts, you know, trying to get elected again, what's going to happen, because you aren't going to know if it's real or not. And
Right.
that was kind of even last term, you didn't know what was real or not. So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I told Plata, I think about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I go, man, we got to come up with some idea on how when you can buy our app and it will tell you if this is AI or not, no matter what, and somehow figure that out. And maybe we can make money off that. Maybe not this year, or next year, in 2 years, but I bet damn well we might in three or 4 or 5 years.
Right. And well, I mean, some of the apps though are starting to put their own code into it to, show
Right.
that the back end of it is showing that it is AI. I know, I mean, Gemini's been doing it forever, and
Yeah.
Claude's doing it, and OpenAI, they're all doing it. It's just a matter of, you know, how well it works or how well it doesn't. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to fast forward a little bit, and just to give you guys out there in higher chill lead land, I want to tell you I've been a friend of Jason's now probably before COVID. I think, I'm sure, right? We met at Responsibid well before COVID. It was the first Responsibid I think Kurt had actually. Um, Personally, that's where we met, and we had tinkered a little bit online with some things together. So Jason and I have built a really good relationship. I actually drive to go see him and to go to trainings that he's had. Um, and I travel around the country and go. And I've got 3 different events I'll be in September. And Jason's is something that if you are in Christmas lights, if you are in pressure washing, and anything else I'm missing. I don't know what you got so much stuff that you do, and you do it really well, but you don't do 5 things at once. And you've done one thing for many, 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 many years, perfected it, and then you hop into something else because that's already perfected, and then you really perfect what you're doing, and you sort of master things. But it's not like this is stuff that you've done in a week or two and all of a sudden you call yourself a guru. You've spent an awful lot of time before COVID, and just you've got a lot of things and a lot of time invested. So I can tell you that if I've been to different trainings, and Jason's got it down, his events, his training. There's limited seating, which I find to be very attractive. It's very affordable, but you do pay, okay, because you get a lot of good stuff out of it, and you should pay more than what he charges. Um, but it's really hands-on. I mean, more so than probably anything else, whether you're at the Huge or wherever you're at. How did you evolve into the training aspect of it, live training? Because you probably did some coaching online. Just kind of talk a little bit more about that.
so in 2015, 16, 17, that's when I had my own business doing pressure washing and Christmas lights. And like I said, that's the time that I went and bought Kreisley's business, First Choice Pressure Washing back in the day. And so he had done it. And so one of the things that he did that I was really intrigued is he really broke things down so people could understand it. And that's something that I learned that, what I take is really easy. A lot of people don't get that easy. So I try to break things down really easy. And the reason why I like my in-person class is because, like, I understand some people have never been on a roof. So that's why I have a training prop here that's 6 inches off the ground. That's a 12-12 pitch. And some people don't know what that means. And that's the steepness of the roof. And, you can see that they got the pitch hoppers here, and then the shoes, and which shoes work and which ones don't. And so those are all things that I've kind of done. Now, when I first started doing the in-person training, this used to be a one-day class between the Christmas lights and the marketing, but I kind of evolved it because I knew that, hey, I know I need longer time for the Christmas light training. And what's the most important part? I can teach you how to do Christmas lights, but if you don't know how to get business, if you don't know how to run a business, you're going to fail. And it doesn't matter what business you're in. In fact, I'd say Saturday is the most important day in any business. And even if you wasn't going to do Christmas lights, you would get so much value to be able to run a business. One of my wife was telling me the other day, she's working with somebody, trying to get them to do something. And, they haven't billed for us from stuff from last month. And so we're supposed to be getting a bill every month, and they haven't even billed us. And it's like, why? This is why you go out of business. Or they're they're cheaper than where we was, and we're getting more value over here. And so,
Yeah.
a lot of times people don't understand people, I have, the last two trainings, even since you've been here, I've really changed the way I do it. It isn't something that I keep it evolving because I know
Yeah.
people want to learn. And I talk about AI and I show how I use AI and how to use agents and how to do these things, and people are just like, I didn't even know you could do this much, right? And so I teach people, I've learned, and this goes for hiring or marketing, how to deal with people. What is love? Does love language really matter in a business? Well, hell yeah, it does, right? Because if you
Right.
don't treat people the way they want to be treated, you might be thinking you're doing something good for them, and they don't give two rats about it. So
Yeah.
it's how do we learn about those things? That this program, are they this type or that type? And when you put them in the room here and I separate you out in how you are because you took the test and you realized it, you're like, huh, that's interesting. I didn't know that that was about me or about how other people, because we always think that everybody's like me. And it's
Right.
the case. So, my training is one of the things that I've put a lot of sweat equity in it. I never keep it the same. I'm always adding to it. I'm always tweaking it, trying to make it better. Take people's, what can I do better, and I make it better.
Yep. Yep. And there's so much in there that you talked about. I mean, the industry, especially Christmas lights, that industry has just evolved and grown so much. Maybe more, maybe landscape lighting is up there, but I'm permanent lighting a little bit. But you're right, man. I mean, you've got to evolve because the industry's evolving, and leaders in the industry like you are leading that evolution and leading those owners and those small businesses to the places that you visualize the industry going, because you have so many different connections in the industry. So you're collaborating and talking to the best of the best, and you're finding yourself to be with the best of the best, because you are the best of the best when it comes to leading this industry. One of the things that you mentioned was people. Understanding whether it's marketing or on the recruiting and the people thing. And I can never pronounce his last name. It's Patrick Lencioni, I think. And he's a big guru and a big author, and he's a coach and all that stuff. And you pay him a fortune to go talk somewhere. But he talks about recruiting, and one of the things he talks about is I just listened to his audiobook, is the three sort of virtues that he looks for in an ideal team player when you're recruiting and hiring. Number one, he looks for people that are humble. He looks for people that are hungry. And then to your point, Jason, he looks for people that are people smart, because you've got to deal with clients. You've got to be a team player. That's how important people smarts is. And that's sort of what you were explaining, whether it's on the marketing or whatever. So you're aligned totally with what this guy's talking about. And this guy's like the Tony Robbins of this type of thing. I mean, he is a big timer, man. So when you talk about Christmas lights right now, we're talking basically it's the 27th of August. It's probably past go time, so it's like, what are we doing here? You just finished up some training not too long ago, a week or two ago. Where are you at right now? Do you even bother training people at this point? I mean, I know you're on every Monday and Wednesday, so there's a lot of value you're still giving, but talk to me a little bit about you're on your in-person training.
Yeah. So it's not too late. A lot of people always ask new time, is it too late? It is not too late. I actually have two trainings in September. I have one in October. I've had people start in November
Yeah.
12th. Jason Murphy out of Louisville, he started in there and he ended up doing like 50 grand his first year. Justice Baker, he did 30,000 his first year, and we did the training in November 1st. And so there's plenty of time to do it. He's going to hit over $500,000 just in Christmas lights. And so
Wow.
it isn't too late to start. You can got time to start. Typically, I always tell people that when you're starting Christmas lights, if it's your first year, you're probably not going to get a lot of work until November 1st. I know a lot of times people are in these groups and people are talking about, look at this $20,000 job. I just closed $50,000, and they didn't tell you they've been doing this since 2019 when I trained in 2019, and they spent, $20,000-$30,000 in SEO and Facebook ads, and they've got $100,000 in marketing spend for the last 5-6 years. And guess what? They got a client base that is huge. And so they haven't told you that. They're just showing you the $50,000. So if they're on chapter 15, you're on chapter 1, and you're like, why ain't I closing nothing here? And it's kind of like hiring, right? If you've never hired a person versus a person that's been through 20 employees, the person with 20 employees has got a lot more knowledge and a lot more understanding of people and working than the person that's never hired the first person. It's, what paperwork do I got to fill out? How do I get them paid? What do I got to do? All those questions that a lot of times once you've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, you're hiring, it's just a no big deal. You bring them in, you get their paperwork signed, and you move on. If it's your first time, you're spending days and weeks and months to try to figure this stuff out, and you keep procrastinating because it's overwhelming you, and you don't know that what you need to do to get it started, right? It's the same thing in business. So with the Christmas light business, most of the time it is November is go time for the first year. Guys, not to say that you can't get some work in October, but and the guys come to my training, they're doing $50,000 to $100,000 their very first year in Christmas light. Last year I had a guy show up in October. He ended up doing $220,000 his very first year in Christmas light. So it's a crazy market. It's a crazy thing of how you can make so much money in it, but it's an amazing thing to see, and it's awesome to see it.
Yeah, and I've met dozens and dozens of Jason's tribe and have been there personally at his training, and I have met dozens and dozens and dozens of his people that he's coaching, and what he is saying is true because I have shaken their hands, I've met them, I know their names. A couple of them are using us for recruiting. That's reality, and the one thing that Jason, I dig about you is it's you're down to earth. It's this, I calls them as I sees them, man. That's just the way it is. And so many people don't do that. And when you get on social media, and we all know this, but we get there's the live, there's the streams, there's the shorts, there's the reels, and we just all of us have gone into that rabbit hole. But I can tell you for sure, I know this guy that's a bookkeeper that does a bunch of bookkeeping for a lot of companies. And a couple of years back, he told me one time, Shawn, if I had a nickel for every one of the people I know how much they do in revenue and what they post, what they do online, I'd be a millionaire if I called out how many of them are bullshitting. And he's like, I'm not talking 50%. I'm talking more than that. So when people tell you don't buy the bullshit that you read online, and Jason, you talk about this, I know because I've been there. You've talked about that specific thing. And you've got such a different approach when you talk about mindset. Mindset has almost become a platitude, like paradigm shift used to be maybe 10 or 15 years ago. We don't hear that word as much, but that was a big buzzword back then. And everything goes back to certain specific fundamentals that will never change. Technology might make it move faster. It might get you information faster, but there's fundamental things you talk about, and just the idea and the approach you have to talking about mindset isn't pie in the sky stuff. It's, you can do $100,000, $200,000 your first year because you've seen people do it. You've trained people to do it, but not all of them have done that. And here's why: because of the fundamental things and the mindset and the way that you approach it. Talk a little bit about how you do approach mindset, man, because you do it really in a down-to-earth sort of way.
The more I learn about mindset, I always go back to, I'll tell my wife, I'm like, why wasn't we taught this when we were younger? Why wasn't we taught this 20 years ago, 30 years ago? The books that we're learning this from is in the 1930s. Sorry about is in the 1930s, right? The books that we're learning from this is literally in the 1930s. 1937 is when Think and Grow Riches came out with Napoleon Hill, and there's books before that that talk all about mindset and how mindset works, and how if you can believe it and see it and bring it to your, you'll achieve it. And so these are all the things that we were taught. We were never taught. Can I take this, or will this be edited out?
No, go for it.
Hello. Again, it's the importance of mindset is so important. Of literally, if you can believe it and you start putting it down and writing down, in the book of Think and Grow Rich, it talks about the 6 steps, and you need to, write it down every day and say it in the morning and say it at night before you go to bed. And it is so true and so positive of how that works. And even having the positivity, right? I have naysayers. I don't want naysayers. I want you to be positive, because if you're not positive, I'm positive you're going to be in trouble. And so it's the people you're around. And are you around good people? Are you around positive people? Are you around the negative Nellies? Are you around people that are making 6 figures and 7 figures and 8 figures where you want to be at? Or are you around people that are making $50,000, $60,000 and you're hearing those voices and those negativities in your brain? Because it literally is, it is one of those things of, and the words you speak are so much important,
Yeah.
I was listening to one of I actually do a book read it's Think and Grow Rich, and I've been doing it for a year and a half now. And so every Thursday morning, and the guy was talking about it, he was like, he used to work with, next year I'm going to make 6 figures. Well, when is next year, right? We're not speaking it into existence. I will make this much in 2026, because when we tell our brain what it'll do, it will figure it out to do it. And so mindset, the more I learn about it, it literally just blows my mind, quote unquote. But the more you learn about it, the more you start focusing on it, the more you start understanding it and putting things into place is huge. I mean, it's literally what will make you to be able to grow your business or not. It's back to the words, rather, and I'm going to bring it back to you, Shawn, of there's no good employees out there. Well, you're right, 100%. Or you can't get that in my area. Well, you know what? You're right. You can't, because that's what you believe, and that's what you're saying, and so you believe it. And your brain doesn't know if you're talking about somebody else or yourself. So it's important that what comes out of your mouth is so important, because if you're saying bad stuff about another person, your brain doesn't know if it's talking about you or somebody else.
Right.
And so it's that God-given talent of, and there is different mindsets, right, that we have to get away. The one that is the poor mindset. In the past, I grew up poor, and I didn't know no different, and I didn't understand, and I wasn't around high-end people. We were always in this group, and when you get around different people, it changes you. The religious one, right? I mean, I've heard it so many times of those rich people, those evil rich people. It's like, well, who do you think pays to get this building up, or the buildings over here, and how to feed those people? You think it's the broke people that are doing that? No, it's those evil rich people, because that's what you're taught, because they have the love of money, or they have money, right? The root of all evil is money. No, it's not. It's the love of it. And so it is important that we change the way we think. And, I was listening to a podcast the other day with Eric Thomas, and he was talking about the difference between being confident and cocky. A lot of times people, and you might be cocky in the room that you're in, but you've got to be confident, and there is a fine line between there. But a lot of times we stay so far away from it, then we don't even believe that we're worth what we are, because we're not confident in what we do. We're not confident in who we're hiring. We're not confident in what we need to do to be able to grow this business in 2026, 2027.
Yeah, I love all that. And so anybody listening, I mean, you probably haven't heard mindset talked about in that regard. And there's a lot, one of the things I get really passionate about and talk a lot about is that, that ego versus your spirit. And you've heard me talk about this with your group, right? It's that ego thing. You need to decide whether or not you're going to be an ego have ego leadership, or some humility and sort of a spiritual leadership. You've got to make that decision. And the number one thing I see business owners who are not executing on their hiring needs versus others that are, the number one thing I see, and I've talked and dealt with thousands of business owners over the years, thousands and thousands, and it's consistent and it has not changed. And it's those that have the mindset of an ego, which is, you come in, job candidate, you better prove to me that you're worthy of working for me. And I get that, because you've been burned so many times. Nobody goes into business, especially our home service businesses, because you love recruiting and you love no shows and and you've been burned so many times, and I get that, but I always talk about that, and it's kind of led me into something I think we don't talk enough about as leaders and trainers and coaches in the industry and business owners in the industry, Jason. And there's some level of maturity that is absent in a lot of business owners. And it could be because, like, you and I came from like nothing, right? You and I both. I didn't have a TV growing up, didn't have a car growing up. For a lot of years, my mom never had a car. So, we were wondering sometimes where food was coming from and all that, right? So when you come from that, it is hard to sort of have, you're kind of kicking the can all the time, and you're blaming everything on everybody but yourself. You're not looking in the mirror. And there's some sort of maturity level of being honest with oneself, where you have got to look in the mirror, you've got to be mature, and don't let other people, whether it's people on social media, the people you're hanging with, or even your employees, don't let them bring you down to some sort of immature level. I don't hear maturity being talked enough about, and I think I'm going to start talking a lot about that.
Well, I think it's back to a lot of times when we hire people, we think that they're just going to do it perfect right out of the get-go, right? And, I told them how to do it. I showed them 2 times. They didn't know how to do it. And it's like, okay, how many times have you had to tell your kid how to do something? You have to tell them how to put their shoes on for how many years before they figure it out.
Yeah.
And so it is so important to understand that you do have to train these people. You do have to put systems in place. A lot of times we just want to throw people out there, and it's super easy. You just put a bulb in a socket and put it up there. How hard is that to do? But it isn't as easy as people make it. And they don't own the business. They're not going to work as fast as you are. They're not going to care about the business as much as you are, because you're literally the business owner. Now, there's ways that you can get buy-in and have them care more about the business and take care of you in the business. But at the end of the day, you have to take care of your employees for that to happen.
Right. And you use the word systems, and we hear a lot about systems. And I think that's almost becoming a platitude now too. But with technology and with the way that people want to grow and compete against private equity and sustain a business and grow a business and scale a business, that goes back to those books too, back in the 1930s and 40s, before technology was even anywhere near where we have it today, with phones and websites and AI and the rest of it. Things happen instantly, right? And it's so much easier to have a system in place today. There were not all kinds of coaches like you out there teaching systems and basically handing systems over that have been proven and busted up and fixed and revamped and reinvented and revolutionized along with where technology is and all that. So why is it that human nature, for whatever reason, I can't think of any other reason than human nature, because shit's been around a long time. So many people don't get it, and they're just not taking the time to put those systems together. I don't know exactly the answer to that. Do you have any idea what that's all about?
Yeah, they want the easy button.
Yeah,
Uh, they want
that's
the
pretty
easy
much
button,
it.
that pushes it. And here's the thing, right? You've got your phone, you got AI, and yes, it can do some stuff, but at the end of the day, yes, it can write the system, but you still got to implement it. You still got to put it into play. You got to tweak it. You got to see like, hey, this is working and what's not. And everybody wants the easy button. You
Yeah.
know, nobody wants to do the work. I deal with this all the time, even in marketing, right? Everybody's like, how can I get more jobs? Okay, great. Go put out 1,000 yard sign. Well, that's a lot of work. Well, I never said nothing was easy. Go hire 3 people. That's a lot of work. Never said it was easy. Go hire 20 people. It's a lot of work to get those people and to get them trained. And how much does it cost you to get a new employee to train? And what's it cost you to lose that employee because now you can't get that truck going out doing $10,000 a day doing Christmas lights because you don't have no employees to put out there because of whatever reason, or maybe they're only able to do $5,000 a day, but you're on them and you make them leave. Now they're not even going to do $5,000 a day. You know, guys I've got are doing $10,000 a day. So imagine you lose an employee or a worker or a team member for something stupid that you're just going to make sure that they do this. Well, now you got to go replace that person. And how long is it going to take the next employee to be able to get to $10,000 a day?
Yep, yep. And that's exactly what it's all about. That's one of the biggest things between success and not success is that mindset, and then having the ability to be honest with yourself, to be truthful about what you can have and should have. You're thinking, I can do whatever this world is offering me as long as I work hard, get those systems in place, and all those things. And a lot of the things I'm talking about and hearing about today, and I'm listening to an audiobook now, um, the science of scaling a business, I think it's called, and it talks an awful lot about noise versus signal. I'm going to go speak at Debbie Sardone's event in a couple weeks about that. That's the theme of her retreat in a couple weeks in Phoenix: noise versus signal. And there's so much distraction out there and shortcuts, and all you got to do is this, everybody says. And it's like, wait a minute, man. And they show you the beautiful cake and it's frosted, it's got sprinkles on it, but they had no idea how hard it was to put that thing together, and yours just went flat because you missed one thing in the system, and your cake just went to shit, and now you're wondering why, right? Because you decided that one or two things that were part of the system weren't important, so I don't have to do it, and I take shortcuts. So all of that is that noise that you allude to, and just those fundamental things of working hard, doing. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to put out 1,000 signs because it works. Not because it's hard for the hell of it. It's because it works. And anything worth doing and that is rewarding, and you get what you reap, is going to usually be pretty difficult. I'm just sorry. And that brings me back to that maturity thing. And I talk a lot about this, and you've heard me probably talk about it at your training, and that is, and it goes back to what you said. This generation of, I baled hay when I was 12 years old. My first job was when I was 8 years old. I know you come from the hard work like that when you were young, right? So guess what my uncles in the World War II uncles said? You lazy bum, you don't know how to work. I'm baling hay when I'm 11, 12 years old. And we've been saying that forever. Okay, Socrates, I always quote him. He said, they're tyrant and they're this, and he's talking about the kids in his generation. So that excuse has been around for a hell of a long time. But somehow or another, companies grow. Companies hire really good people. So it just is that full circle, going back to what Jason said at the beginning of this, which is the mindset, and I talk about just the realities. There is a line between pie in the sky, and I think that's okay to have those big thoughts and those big goals and achieve more than what you even dream possible. Your mind, if you train it and you're positive and you hang out and listen to the right people, you do the right things with the right people at the right times for the right reasons, okay, there's no shortcuts in any of that stuff. There just isn't. And Jason's proven it time and time again. And I know the people that he's trained, and I've seen him, go out and make more money than they thought possible after his training. And I've got his website going across the banner right now, ChristmasLightsHQ.com. I'm sure if they went there, they'd be able to find out more information about you and what's going on. Talk a little bit about what's happening in the next couple of weeks and months with some training.
So the next couple of weeks, so in the middle of September, I'll have a training here that will be myself. And then the last month, I just kind of put it together. I haven't got all the details. It'll be changing on the website, but I'm actually going to have Daniel here with me, who is in year 3, went from 0 as a soccer coach to doing over 7 figures doing Christmas lights. And so he will be here for me on that one. That will be the last Friday, Saturday, Sunday of September, and so he will be opening up like his some of his stuff that he's doing. One of the things that he does that he's kind of known for is he does cold calling, and it's one of those things that it's not easy to do. Like, he's went months before, weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks without getting one phone call. Not getting one job, but then. He's closed a 6-figure job this year. He's closed all kinds of things, bunch of HOAs, all kinds of things. And so that is the difference between taking action and hoping, right? Everybody hopes they get this. And he will be sharing his commercial deck with people. And we know it works because I know somebody else that's using that commercial deck. So that is something that he actually just got back from Scotland last night, and so he was texting me and he's like, why don't we do a class together? I'm like, let's go. So the last class, or the last weekend in September, we'll be doing a class here, Christmas Lights HQ. You'll just have to go to training there, and it'll take you to my christmaslights.io place. But that's what we'll be doing, a training here, and it'll be on there right now. It's probably going to say we're going to do permanent lights, but we won't be doing permanent lights because the sales side and the marketing side of what we'll be talking about between the two of us are way more important than trying to figure out permanent lights. So that is something that we are going to be doing. And so it will be limited seats because I can only hold so many people in here, but it'll be exciting to see people learning and growing. And, it is something that it's exciting to see people, being able to do 7 figures in 3 years with a crew of less than 7 people, 6-7 people is amazing, right? It's something that it's very profitable, and he's been literally to be able to change his life. And people always ask him all the time, how you do it? It's like, it's the hard work. He's working. His very first year, he was one time he called me. It was midnight where I was at, because I was in Dallas, Texas. So it's 2:00 in the morning, and he's trying to figure this stuff out. Calls me on a Saturday. He's like, my guy just quit. What do I do? I'm like, you need to put something in Craigslist or Facebook so you can hire somebody by Monday. By Monday, he had somebody hired and kept him right on going. And so those are the things that make the difference and be able to separate you, to be able to keep you moving. He could have just been like, well, he gave up, I'm done. No, he kept thinking. And a lot of it, he even said, he's like, I literally had pictured in my mind what it would look like doing a $10,000 day, what it would look like to do a $50,000 week, $100,000 week. And so, that's what you can do. And it's amazing of what you can do by doing Christmas lights. So yes, I do have 3 more classes coming up. I have my online training. Which every Monday night I do a Zoom call. This past Monday night, I did a something about AI, and I opened it up. I actually opened it up to everybody, and there was 155 people that signed up for it. So it's something that I know that AI is definitely something that people need and people want. And so I might do more classes now that one went so well. But it is something that it's a tool, right? And if you don't know how to use the tool, you're not going to be successful with it. It's just like an employee. If you don't know how to take care of an employee, you're probably not going to be successful with it in 2026.
Absolutely. Sounds good. And when I talk about maturity, I also will throw in there that Jason was training a 17-year-old who I think what broke his ankle or broke his knee or
His leg.
something, and
Yeah.
he still couldn't go, so he couldn't climb ladders. But somehow, because of your training and things, he was able to make money still as a 17-year-old doing Christmas lights. So not to put him down at all because he's a good dude and he works hard. That's not my point. My point is, if a 17-year-old can do it, you can do it. And he's a pretty special 17-year-old, but you don't have to be 30 years old with a ton of experience and own 3 other companies and all that stuff. If you're looking for an add-on to your pressure washing company, if your window cleaning company where you're closed down for 3 months out of the year, you don't have to do that. If you're just somebody that's looking for, a fireman that's looking for a part-time thing for yourself and maybe 1 or 2 or 3 helpers, you can make a lot of dough and retire, put that in some retirement or something, and have a lot of dough in the next 5, 6 years. Like literally a millionaire traveling to Scotland, like Dan and the rest of the gang. I mean, it's these aren't things where, just talking about 1 or 2 people, like when you get the, get rich quick schemes and they tell you about 2 people that are bazillionaires from it, and that one was his brother and the other one was the first customer that he put through it, and then there's 10 million people that didn't make shit doing it. These are real people that I know, that I've met, that are making this kind of money, that have gone through Jason's training, and there's not 10 vendors there. You're not going to find, swan napkins and a bunch of chocolate and truffles and bullshit. You're going to go in there, you're going to sit in a chair, you're going to walk around, you're going to get outside into trees, on ladders, up on roofs. You're going to be doing these things. It's not a bunch of, a boat ride afterwards and you're going to be doing nonsense and pay a fortune for the nonsense part and learn nothing. You're going to be hands-on, literally training on how to do these things. It's crazy. When I was there, I'm just looking all around going, these are all over the place. I went outside to go, and I'm like, wait a minute, they're up in trees over here. Now there's 3 guys up on the roof, and you got other people. And the cool thing was, Dan, I think it's Daniel, right? You said it's going to be there. Daniel's literally telling people, here's what I do here, while Jason's got people out on a tree somewhere doing other things and wrapping trees. And so the collaboration on where people are anywhere from, I have no idea what I'm doing, to I've been doing this 3 years and I want to be a part of this and I want to give everything I can for you.
I just had a guy here that's been doing Christmas lights for 28 years, and he's like, man, I wish I would have met you 25 years ago because I would be a lot richer than I am right now.
Yep, and that's what it's all about. What else you got? Anything before we wrap it up?
Other than that, if you need Christmas lights, that's something I do this year that I'm actually shipping out. So if you need any Christmas lights right now, we got 20% off to the end of the month, which is only 4 days away. ChristmaslightsHQ.com. But other than that, that's all I have, man.
All right, so you're supplying too. Are you selling, leasing, or what do you rent it or sell it or what?
No, I'm selling it. So if you're an installer and need lights, go check me out. Like I say, 20% off right now. So
Yep. I know you've been working hard on that, so I know it's first class. I know it's dependable, and I know how undependable or independable some other suppliers can be, and China stuff, and things happening with tariffs and all that stuff. You've been really close knit on understanding all of that. So if you need some sort of supplies, lights, Christmas lights, get on Jason's website. I'm sure that he'll be happy to talk to you about it. ChristmasLightsHQ.com. That's it, man. I appreciate you being on. Good to see you again.
Hey, thank you for having me.
All right.
Always keep being great.
Always be Cruton. Always be Cruton. That's what I'm saying. All right, everybody. Shawn, I'm going to check out. Hirely Chill. And we'll be on. I'm going to try to be on every Tuesday again. I think at 4 o'clock is what I was doing in the past. Get back to that routine. Hopefully, I was trying to get on with Jason last Sunday, but I got crazy with my kid taking her to college and stuff. So hopefully, I can get on Jason on a Sunday with you here soon before it's not too late. We'll work that out and go from there. Everybody, take good care. God bless, and make it happen.